Gotta go back that way and get one more thing. Just one more thing. Hi, I'm Alex from AverageWoodworking.com. Today we're gonna finish this doghouse. Before I did any more work, Morgan and I moved the whole house outside to where it will sit once it's finished. It was already plenty heavy at this stage and would only get heavier as more wood was added, so it had to move now rather than later. Then it was time to move on to add all the wall pickets. I started with the left wall first and moved my way around to the back and onto the other wall just so I could adapt as I went to make sure everything was fitting perfectly. I had originally planned to put glue between each one of these slats to help with windproofing, but that turned out to be a huge hassle from the first and I decided to scrap it. Later I'll come back with some kind of gap sealant for the inside. Also take notice of the piece of 2x4 I've got resting underneath all the picket bottoms on the ground. This is so that there's a consistent gap at the bottom of the wall fence and to ensure that all the pickets come up to the same height. The ground here wasn't super level, so this helped with the aesthetic a ton. I know it's getting kind of dark here, but before this day was over I wanted to put on the roofing struts. The pocket holes that I had pre-drilled in them made this a super easy step, a little bit of glue, and they just attach really nicely. I had originally planned to do 6 across, but after the first 2 or 3, it became clear that 5 would do just fine. So before the roofing deck can be added to the actual frame, it needs to be modified just a little bit first. I went the whole 9 with this project. With roofing panels and asphalt paper, it's a real, actual small house. To prep the roofing deck, the entire surface needs a layer of asphalt paper first, which is for now just added with stainless steel staples. The more permanent connection comes later when the deck gets attached to the frame using cap nails, which have a small plastic cap underneath the head of the nail so that moisture can't seep through here at that joint. These get nailed through the deck and directly into the studs later on. For the edges, I'm applying a small aluminum drip edge around only the back 3 sides, since the front edge will be covered with a modified ridge gap that you'll see me put on later. It went on easily enough. I'm using these special 3/4 inch steel screws, but they wouldn't punch through the aluminum without a little help from a hammer. So I started the screw with a hammer and finished it with a drill, and then used an angle grinder to trim them up right at the right length. It's fun stuff. I like the sparks. It's okay, girls. It started raining, so this is all I'm gonna have for right now. Got the asphalt paper on, got the drip edges on. So I went with Honduras corrugated asphalt roofing panels for this build for a couple of reasons. First of all, they're not metal, so they're quite a deal cheaper than shingles or even metal sheet roofing would have been. They're super easy to manipulate, as you can see me here cutting them easily with just a jigsaw. And they're made up of to half recycled material, so they're a little easier on the environment too. Once they were cut down to size, they get attached to the roofing deck using these specialized 3.5 inch nails with caps on them that Honduras makes, but it started to rain and I didn't get any of the footage of this part. The nails actually go through the top of the wave rather than the bottom like I would have thought, and it makes for a super sturdy connection. Honduras also makes little foam inserts for the openings at the ends so that one little whatevers can't get up there and get inside. And this is a super important step, and it shouldn't be skipped. Birds can nest up in there and it's just a mess. Sorry for the kind of weird camera angle here, but like I said, it was raining. Gotta protect the camera, right? Here I'm attaching a front panel with some leftover plywood just to keep a little extra heat inside while still leaving a nice and large and open front gap. I was feeling kind of fancy here, and since I had a lot of scrap picket pieces, I went ahead and put up a fancy little herringbone pattern along that front panel. This turned out to be one of my favorite parts of the whole build. It was a lot of fun. It's cozy. Molly! Hi! There's a good girl. I'm just hanging out in your new house. Okay, let me finish it. How about? Okay, for me to get up, you have to get up first. 1, 2, 3. Eeeew. So for the front edge, I'm using what are supposed to be used as ridge gaps to come over the front edge and attach to the front of the frame. Normally pieces like these would go over the top of a gabled roof, but they actually work great for this application. They attach just like the other pieces with Ondura specialized nails. They're made by Ondura. It's the same product, and it works really well. There are just a few final things to finish this project up. I used my little table saw to rip down a picket to fit the leftover gap along that right wall and a little bit along the back wall as well. I also added some leftover pickets to the front 2x4 pieces just to fancy them up a little bit. It also helped waterproof those pieces since they were not pressure treated. And then I took my angle grinder to file down some of the outside of the exposed nails and screws that stuck through some of the pieces. I didn't really worry about all of them, but just the ones that could potentially come in contact with someone or some dog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video series. If you like my content, you can click right here to subscribe, or if you want to watch the rest of them in this series, you can click right down there. That's all we got for today. I'll see you next time.
Hey, Alex.
Go away.
Look.